Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Karthik month special. So today we're going to talk about the significance of observing this Karthik Damodar month celebration. Why is it called Karthik month? Why is it called Damodar Mas? And what are the different ways in which we can actually observe this particular month? So there is a saying in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a shloka where Lord Krishna says, Na kartika samo maso na kritena samam yugam, na veda sadrisham na tirtha gangaya samam, kartikah pravaro maso vaishnavanam priyas sada, kartikam skalam yastu bhaktya sevate vaishnava. So the translation of the shloka is that there is no month equal to the Kartik month. There is no yuga as equal to that of the Satya Yuga. There is no scripture that is as equal as to the Vedas. And there is no place of pilgrimage that is holier than the Ganges. So this Kartik month is very, very dear to all the Vaishnavas, the devotees of Krishna. Therefore, for us, this month is very, very holy. So it is said that whatever we observe in this month as a vrat, whatever small austerity we can keep, has 1,000 times the benefits than if you were to keep that same austerity in a different month. So it is a 1,000x exponential benefit for all of us. So this year, Kartik month begins today, which is Sharad Purnima, October 17th, and it will end on November 15th. Today also begins the last month of Chaturmas. For those who are observing Chaturmas, we have to abstain from Urad Dal from today all the way up to November 15th. Yesterday, the third month of Chaturmas ended. That means since we were fasting from milk, we can now include milk in our prasadam now. So what is the reason that this month is known as Kartika month? Actually, if you look at different paramparas, they actually say that in this month, Kartikeya defeated the demon and had victory over that demon. But for us Vaishnavas, we understand the significance of this month to be very, very different. So the vrat that we keep in Kartik month is called the Urja Vrat or the Kartik Vrat. And the word Urja means energy or strength. So one of the names of Srimati Radharani is Urjeshwari. So bhakti cannot exist without Srimati Radharani. So she is that Shakti potency. She is actually the Bhakti Shakti of the Supreme Lord. So she is the power source of Bhakti. And she is therefore also called Bhakti Pradayini, the giver of devotion. So if we were to approach Lord Krishna and pray to him saying, give us bhakti, give us Krishna prema, Krishna will tell us, I don't have Krishna prema. Krishna prema is there with my devotees. They are the ones who love me. So if you ask me for Krishna prema, how can I give it to you? Because I don't possess it. It is possessed by my devotees. And of course, the topmost devotee of the Lord is Srimati Radharani. So really, if we want to get Krishna prema, we should be worshipping and begging Srimati Radharani for that Krishna prema, because she has it unlimitedly. So if you want to make progress on the spiritual path, we should be begging Srimati Radharani every day for that Krishna prema. That is why in the Mahamantra, it begins with Hare. So we're calling out to Srimati Radharani and asking her to engage us in the service of her Lord, Shri Krishna. That is the meaning behind the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are crying out to Srimati Radharani to kindly engage us in service, because through the process of serving the Supreme Lord, we will get purified and we will get that Krishna Prema. So Krishna does not possess bhakti. Bhakti is owned by Srimati Radharani. So if you want bhakti towards Lord Krishna, then we have to worship Srimati Radharani. So in Vrajabhumi, there are two facets to the Lord, two features to the Lord. One is the Aishwarya Tattva, where the Lord displays his opulence. So the significance of the Lord is his opulence. So when the Lord demonstrates his opulence, as he does in the Vaikuntha planets, then all of the devotees worship him with reverence. So that's one facet of the Lord. So some of us are attracted to this particular feature of the Lord so that we can worship him with reverence, where we know that he is the Supreme Lord and that we are his servants and we are meant to serve and worship him eternally. So this is one feature of the Lord. But the other feature of the Lord is his sweetness. And the sweetness of the Lord camouflages his opulence. So when you really appreciate and love that feature of the Lord, where he's so sweet, he's mischievous, he's loving, he deals with you in different rasas other than the Aishwarya Bhav, then you understand that this rasa is very, very unique to Vrindavan, to Goloka Vrindavan. So in Vaikuntha, we worship him in his Aishwarya feature. Whereas in Vrindavan, we worship him in his sweetness, the Madhurya Ras, it is called. So this Madhurya Ras attracts everyone. It attracts the Gopas, it attracts the Gopis, it attracts Srimati Radharani. And this sweetness of the Lord is the most merciful aspect of the Lord. So when the Lord is very sweet, he's not judgmental. So he is very loving, he's very kind, and the sweet potency of the Lord is actually witnessed in the Vrindavan pastimes of the Lord. So, so normally when we think of God, we think, yes, God is great. We are meant to worship him. He may punish us if we don't follow his instructions. We have to pay for it through karmic reactions. But here, the gopis and the Vrajavasis, they experience the sweetness of the Lord in such a way, they forget that he is the Supreme Lord. And therefore, they are able to play with him, like as if he was the best friend. They are able to tease him. They are able to taunt him, which is what the gopis would do. So oftentimes in these pastimes of the Lord, he gets dominated by his devotees. So the devotees seem apparently to have the upper hand over the Supreme Lord. This is his Vrajabhumi pastimes. He is completely controlled by his devotees in Vrindavan. He is controlled by Mother Yashoda. He is controlled by Radharani. He is controlled by the gopis. He is controlled by the gopas. So this Aishwarya potency of the Lord is eclipsed by his sweetness. And because they are witnessing the sweetness of the Lord, they forget that he is the Lord. See, one has to forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord in order to enjoy his pastimes in this sweet mode, right? So yes, even though he is the Supreme Lord, he is the provider, he takes care of everything, he is organizing and orchestrating everything, the Vrajavasis don't consider him that way at all. Mother Yashoda thinks, this is my son, I need to protect him. So that is her mood. She doesn't say, this is the Supreme Lord, he's taking care of me. What can I do to protect him? That is not her mood at all. She just looks at him as This is my son. I need to protect him. I need to teach him. Yes. So in the Vrajabhumi, nobody cares or accepts that Krishna is a supreme Lord. Even if he has shown his universal form, the cosmos, inside his mouth to Mother Yashoda, still Mother Yashoda forgets it. He makes her forget it. Because if she remembers, then the relationship will change. The bhava will change. So this is the significance of observing this Kartik Vrat. We are actually worshipping Srimati Radharani because the love of her life is Sri Damodara. So what are the different ways? And of course, before we look at the different ways we can observe the Vrat, there are so many pastimes that happened during this month in Vrajabhumi and also outside of Vrajabhumi. So there are many, many significances here, beginning with the Rasa dance that starts today. Or that was, as per the Bhagavatam, it says Sharad Purnima. So the Rasa dance happens on Sharad Purnima, and then subsequently it happens also on Rasa Purnima day as well. You know, the appearance of Radhakund, Shyamakund happens during this month. Although the original significance of this is actually Krishna killing the bull demon Arishtashara. That happens prior to Kartik month, but the actual kund, the visibility of both the kunds, there is a significance. It is called Bahulashtami. So like this, Gopashtami celebrated, Bahulashtami celebrated. Diwali comes, the Damodar Leela actually happens on the day of Diwali. Diwali is also significant because Lord Ram returns to Ayodhya, victorious over Ravana. Like this, there are so many different pastimes that actually happen during this month that makes it very, very significant. So in Kartik month, and generally speaking, there are two types of instructions for us. One is called the Nisheda Vrat, which means it tells you about all the things you should not do. Like one should not have alcohol. One should not have relationships outside of marriage. One should not engage in gambling. One should avoid eating unclean things. So this is called the Nisheda Vratas. So our Shastras always have the don'ts and then the do's. So the do's are called the Vidhi Vratas. So the Vidhi Vratas is like chanting, honoring Prasadam, observing Ekadesi, doing Shravanam, doing Kirtanam, of course, Vishnu Smaranam. So the 9 Angas of Bhakti can be practiced in this month. So if you read the Nectar of Devotion, it says there are 64 different limbs of Bhakti. 64. Out of those 64, 5 are considered to be most significant. The first one is Sadhu Sangha, which means association with Vaishnavas, because that really helps you make progress on the spiritual path. It gives you that energy when you're associating with other Vaishnavas. If you're down on your sadhana, associating with other Vaishnavas helps you pick up and correct your sadhana. It energizes you. So the first limb is Sadhu Sangha. Of the 64, these are the 5 most important limbs. All limbs are important, but these 5 are considered to be primary. So Sadhu Sangha is one. The second one is Nama Kirtana, Nama Sankirtana. 2 ways in which you can do it. One is your own japa, and the other is doing Sankirtan with others, singing bhajans and Vaishnava songs with others. That is also called Sankirtana. Hearing Krishna Katha is also called Sankirtana. So Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana. Then hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be very, very important. Not the Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study. It's like your kindergarten, Prabhupada says. So once you finished your kindergarten, then you have to focus on Srimad Bhagavatam. So hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam during this month is very, very glorious for us to do. Then the fourth anga of bhakti is to actually reside in Brajabhumi, in Mathura or Mathura district or Brajabhumi. But the way we understand this is that we cannot physically transport ourselves during this month to Vrindavan or Mathura. But what can we do? By practicing Krishna consciousness, by immersing ourselves in Harikatha, your own residence becomes Vrindavan. Your heart becomes Vrindavan. So physically, it may not be feasible for us to shift an entire month to this place. But figuratively speaking, spiritually, you can be in Vrindavan every day. And then finally, deity worship. Therefore, offering ghee lamb to the Lord, worshipping him with flowers, worshipping him with incense sticks. All of this have a great deal of significance. So what are the five? Sadhu Sangha, Harinam, Kirtan, Harikatha, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, living in Brajabhumi, and then finally deity worship. These five limbs are considered very, very important. Now, so these are the do's and don'ts primarily. So the deity for Karthik month is actually Srimati Radharani. Radharani is the daughter of Kirtika Devi and Vrishabhanu. Because she is the daughter of Kirtika, she is known as Kirtida Sundari or Kirtika Kumari. So the daughter of Kirtida is Kirtika. So Kirtika has become Kartika. So the name of the month itself is named after Srimati Radharani. So hence it is called Kartik. So what is this Damodar then? Because this Leela of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna, because he had broken the butter pot and he had made a mess at home, she was not at all happy with his mischievousness. So she ties him up to the mortar. Dama Udara, right? Udara is the belly, Dam is the rope. So she ties the Lord up with the rope. But if you read the translation of the Damodara Ashtakam, she's actually not tied him up with a physical rope. She's tied him up with her love. That's what Satyavrata Muni says, that it is the rope of love that has bound Krishna to that mortar. Therefore, it is called Kartika Damodara month. It is the bringing together of Srimati Radharani and Krishna is called Kartik Damodar. But Krishna is so merciful that whatever auspicious activities that we perform in this month, he magnifies it. So the results are 1000% compared to what you do it in other months. So that is why it is called the Urja Vrata, because we are trying to please Srimati Radharani, and through her recommendation, Krishna accepts us as his devotee. So devotee means Radharani has to give you a recommendation letter. So without pleasing Srimati Radharani, you cannot become a devotee of Krishna. So she has to sign off and say, tell the Lord, here is a nice devotee. Please accept him, or please accept her. Yeah. So when the Gopi Geet happens, so as we said, this month starts with Sharad Purnima and ends with what is called Kartika Purnima. So from Purnima to Purnima is how we observe this month, and all months, of course, and as per Vaishnava calendar. So when Krishna would play the flute in the middle of the night, different tunes were used for different purposes. So at the night, when he played this flute, all the gopis would come running to where Krishna was. And Krishna would be astonished to see them, and he would ask them, what are you doing here in the middle of the night? And you're all very respectable ladies. what will the society think that you've come to see a boy like me in the middle of the night? And the gopis would argue with Krishna and say, actually, you called for us, and that's why we came. And so Krishna would say, okay, now that you've seen me, you can go back. There's no need to stay out in the night like this. It is not proper. It is not proper etiquette for you to come and see me in the middle of the night like this. Okay, since you said I called you, you have seen me now you go back. So they were just heartbroken because they thought Krishna was rejecting them. So this is there in Canto 10 in chapter 21. So the gopis complained to Krishna saying, hey, you are the one who called us and now you are rejecting us. How can you be so cruel? And the Lord says, okay, chalo, then we can have a nice dance with all of you. Because you've come to meet me, I will satisfy your desire. So like this, the pastimes would happen in this particular month. Then, of course, as Krishna is dancing with them, he ultimately abandons all of them. And separately, he is gone with Srimati Radharani. Eventually, he abandons Srimati Radharani also. And then everybody goes searching for Krishna. So they are all on the banks of the river Yamuna. And that's when the Gopi Gita is sung. The 19 verses where the gopis are glorifying Krishna. Imagine they have been rejected by Krishna, but they're glorifying the Lord in 19 sweet verses. In our temple, we sing the Gopi Geet every day in the morning and also in the evening. So the gopis are complaining, saying, we have left everything for you. And what do? You abandon us. You know, we are so fond of you. We have sacrificed our lives for you. And all you do is abandon us. Of course, Krishna reappears and they experience this bliss again. So this Govardhan Leela, this Rasa dance, the Gopashtami. So Krishna's age is divided into 4 primary categories. So all of his Leelas from the age of 1 to 5, or from the time of his birth, from the time of his appearance to the age of 5, it is called the Kaumara Leelas. Then from the age of 6 to 10, it is called the Pauganda Leelas. Then from the age of 11 to 15, it is called the Kishora Leelas. And then from 16 onwards, Yauvana Leelas. Of course, when Krishna is 11, he leaves Vrindavan to go to Mathura. And he doesn't come back. So all the Brajabhumi pastimes end by the time Krishna is 11 years old. So the Rasa dance actually happens when he is 6 years old. So it's very, very young. The gopis are young. Some of the gopis may be older, materially speaking, than Krishna. But Krishna is very, very young when the Rasa Leela happens. So when he turns 6, one day Krishna approaches his father and mother and he says, I'm an old boy now. I cannot be grazing calves anymore. Please give me the responsibility to take care of the cows. So it is said that Nanda Maharaj had 9 lakh cows. So Mother Yashoda was very, very concerned because as long as the Lord was grazing the calves, he was in and around their house within eyesight of Mother Yashoda. The minute Krishna insisted that he should now start taking care of the cows because he's a big boy, after all, he's the prince, he's going to become a king one day, he has to have the appropriate training. But Mother Yashoda was not very convinced. She thought, no, what will happen? You will go far away. You're already been attacked by so many demons. I can't protect you if you leave my vicinity. And she was very, very concerned about the safety of Krishna. And specifically, she said, you are going to travel so far and wide with the cows, then I need to give you slippers. And Krishna says, no, I will not wear slippers. And Mother Yashoda tries to beg and plead with him, no, you must accept slippers because there will be thorns and bushes everywhere. You will take these cows and your tender feet will get hurt. And Krishna gives Mother Yashoda a condition. He tells her, if my feet are going to hurt, then the 9 lakh cows' feet are also going to hurt. They are also going to be stepping on thorns and bushes and, sharp little pebbles and other things. So he tells his mother, you make slippers for all the cows, then I will accept the slippers. So that means 9 lakh into, each cow has 4 legs. So 36 lakh slippers Mother Yashoda had to make. Of course, she didn't make it. So like this way, Krishna got his way. Srila Prabhupada says that in the Vrajabhumi pastimes, nobody wears slippers. So the Lord is always barefoot. Srimati Radharani is always barefoot. But the minute they step out of Vrajabhumi, Lord Krishna has his padukas. Now you may ask, okay, then why on the altar do we place the padukas? Because if you go to the altar, you will see the padukas. And Prabhupada explains that's because even though Srimati Radharani and Krishna are there on the altar, we have to first learn to worship them as Lakshmi Narayana. That is the beginning process of worship for us. So we worship them with reverence, and therefore the padukas are placed on the altar. Of course, the other sweeter way of understanding the padukas on the altar is that the deity is non-different than Krishna himself. The deity is non-different than Srimati Radhika Devi herself. So the couple are always engaged in pastimes. So sometimes they may want to step out of the altar, and therefore they will take on their padukas, they will wear them, and then they will step out and do their pastimes. In our altar, something very mystical happens. And I've got one of the padukas I can show you. So the padukas are kept on the altar, right? Over a period of time, you will see toe prints, like as if there is an impression of toes on the padukas. I'll just see, I don't know if this is going to be visible. This is actually Giridhari's paduka that I have, that very mercifully was given to me. But if you see the other paduka, here it has been gold plated. So this is Giridhari's padukas that was on our altar. So you can see the padukas. Yeah. But if you see the padukas even of Narasimhadev and Mahaprabhu, you will see impressions of toes on the padukas over a period of time. So the belief is that the Lord is performing his pastimes, and sometimes he may step out of the altar to perform his pastimes. So this is the beauty of the Leelas of the Lord. The deities are non-different than the Supreme Lord. So when we look at the deities, we shouldn't think, oh, this is not Krishna, that the real Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan. No, Krishna is here on the altar. That is why we worship him. The more we worship him, the more he is there for us, right? So Srimati Radharani also dresses herself as a cowherd boy, as Subal Sakha in one of the many, many pastimes. So this entire month, we are going to dive deep into the significance of observing this Leela. We are going to get into the Leela. So the question is now, how do we observe this particular month? There are various different ways you can observe this month. The most important thing is chanting the holy names of the Lord. So today, if you're chanting 16 rounds, maybe you can add another 6 rounds or another 2 rounds. Chant extra rounds this month because, again, as we said, it has 1,000 times the benefit, right? Then you can worship Tulasi Devi every day, offer her water, flowers, incense sticks, ghee lamp as well. The other way you can observe this vrat is you can wake up very early in the morning. If you can, take a bath in cold water, if you can, although it is the coldest time of the year during Karthik month. But it is an austerity that we are trying to keep, right? The austerity is waking up early in the sense that all of your material comforts you should try to reduce. So you can also lay on the floor rather than on the bed. every night. So for that 1 month, you can sleep on the floor. Eating, you can reduce. Whatever prasadam you are having, keep it minimal. Of course, worship the Lord and offer a ghee lamp once in the morning and once in the evening. And each member of the household should offer their own lamp if possible. Again, once in the morning, once in the evening. At the end, actually today, what you should do is you should do Achaman and you should offer your vrat to the Lord and tell the Lord that this is the vrat that you're going to keep for this month, right? Then because you're promising the Lord directly, you will be more committed to it than promising by entering a registration form with what vrat you're going to keep. So it is better that you write down your vrat and offer it to the Lord today. Do Achaman and very humbly worship the Lord and ask Him to help you observe these austerities, whatever austerities it is, right? Reading, chanting, taking up seva in the temple, worshipping Tulsi Devi. So doing Nama Sankirtana, distributing books, so many different ways you can observe this vrat. The way you end the vrat on Rasa Purnima is that day you have to give charity. Actually, every day you can give in charity. You can sponsor Vaishnava Bhojan in the temple or whatever charity you can do. Go Puja, you can do Tulsi Puja, especially on Ekadasi. It is very, very auspicious if Tulsi Puja is done. This month ends with what is called the Bhishma Panchak. I think this year it is just 4 days, if I'm not mistaken. Technically, the last 5 days of Karthik month is called the Bhishma Panchak. Why? Because if you are not able to observe the vrat strictly during the entire month, if you observe it on these 5 days and you can keep a specific kind of fast in the last 5 days of Karthik month, it will give you the benefit of having observed the vrat for the entire month. Okay. So the last 5 days, it begins with Ekadasi and ends on Purnima. That is Bhishma Panchak, right? So we should recite the Damodar Ashtakam every day, morning and evening. Yes. So there are so many different ways in which we can observe the vrat. We've tried to accommodate many of the more important things by reorganizing our morning and evening program so that we can do chanting, we can observe Mangala Arathi, we can observe Tulsi Puja, do a Tulsi Puja. Please try to avoid eating non-vegetarian items at least during this 1 month. It is very important and very nice if you can observe this one particular month, you can observe that austerity. Yeah. And similarly, no onion and no garlic. If you're consuming onion and garlic regularly, then at least this month you avoid it. Yes. Then if you go on a yatra during this month to any holy place, that is also very nice. We will see if we can do a 1-day trip somewhere, maybe to Srirangapatna to take a dip in the Kaveri. Technically speaking, you should go take a dip in the river to end this vrat. But it is okay. You can go on any day during this month to observe the same, to observe this austerity as well. Yeah. So these are some of the ways in which you can observe this austerity. You can go to our website for a more detailed view of the different ways in which you can observe this austerity. Many, many more leelas happened here. The Bali Vamana Leela happened during this month. The Tulsi Shaligram Vivaha happens during this month. Lakshmi Puja is done during this month. Lakshmi Devi comes out of this Samudra Manthan during this month. Dhanteras is celebrated this month. Kurma Avatar appeared in Kartik month. Mohini Murti appeared during Kartik month. Tulsi Devi appears during Kartik month. So the Lord kills the Keshi demon, the horse, during this month. Vyomasur, Kamsa are also killed during this month. Dhruva Maharaj sees Lord Narayana during this month. When he does his tapas for 6 months in Madhuvan, he sees the Lord during the Kartik month. So the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj with Durvasa Muni happens during Kartik month. So you can see that this month has so much of a significance for Vaishnavas, because many of the Lord's Leelas actually happen during this month. Yeah. So this is very, very important for us to observe this particular month. Of course, the two Ekadesis that come, Uttana Ekadeshi, it's very, very important to observe the Ekadesis as well and chant more during this month. This Matsya Avatar happened during Karthik month. A Shankachuda demon was killed during this month. So many pastimes have happened during this month. So each day we will go over many of these Leelas, and hopefully we'll get absorbed in Krishna consciousness completely during this month. Thank you very much. If